Hey everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Christy Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm just fine. I'm over here fighting a losing battle with my cell phone, but it's okay. It's fine. I there was an update and Google made me put a password on it, and I hate it.
Ah.
And more than half the time apparently I put it in wrong and then I have to fix it and oh my god. I can't do anything fast. It's driving me nuts.
That's funny.
Had
What I
it.
find funny is that you've only to this point now had a password on your cell phone.
Oh, yeah,
Have
I've never had a
you
password on it.
done a pattern or used your face or your thumbprint or anything?
I've never done that. Yeah.
Because those things are quite a bit quicker than the password,
Hmm. I should
usually.
try that. It's so annoying. That's all. I am annoyed, but I'm fine. I'm actually fine. Yeah. On my other show
And
today, I had my birthday giveaway show that I do every year for my
yes,
birthday, which was super fun. And I actually designed a
good.
new sticker pack for that. But I'm excited about
Oh,
it because it'll be a good giveaway, like a freebie for Etsy sales and stuff like that. And like,
uh
it's kind
huh.
of fun. So, if people love it when I send it out, I might put it up actually it's a motivational one. It's not a true crime one. But
Sure.
anyway, kind of having fun with sticker packs.
That is very cool. I
Yeah.
like the sticker packs a lot.
This one is fun. Yeah.
Kathy's wondering about the kittens. They are taking a nap, and I kind of have to have help to wrangle them in here and then wrangle them out of here during the show. And Rhonda's at the chiropractor, so no kittens today, but we'll have them again probably tomorrow night. They are busy ladies, and they are big. They're bigger than I expected them to be. They're 9 weeks
Mhm.
old, but wow, they are in great health, and
Yeah.
they are tough. And when they want down, well, you got to let them down.
Yeah.
That's just what we learned.
Yeah.
But they're so fun. I am also having a lot of fun with my new 3D printer. I got a 3D printer. I've wanted one for a long time.
Yes.
I made this llama.
I
Pretty
love
cute.
it. It's very cute.
I'm gonna
How
have a lot
fun.
better stuff soon, but yeah, I'm on a learning curve with technology, kind of like you are. Uh, only maybe a lot more complicated. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, this is not necessarily quite a plug and play situation quite yet, but it is getting much better, I think,
Mhm.
than it was
Oh, yeah.
originally. But wowza, it is. Whew,
Honestly, you need to learn a handful of skills with the software and you will be like unstoppable. I think when a
that's
few
what I'm
things
hoping.
click, you'll be like,
Oh,
world in the
piece
palm
of
of your
cake.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of terminology and a lot of stuff that I'm like, I don't even know what any of this means. So that's
Mhm.
great. So, anyway, I'm having fun with that. And as usual, we've got a lot of true crime to talk about.
We do.
Did you all know that the Supreme Court refused to take up little Joshy Duggar's case, guys?
Oh, little Joshy Duggar. Oh,
Oh, darn it.
no. Guess you'll have to
Thank God. That's all
stay
I
in
have to
federal
say.
prison. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please enjoy your dose of federal prison. That is not nearly long enough time, you little shit.
The only thing that's keeping children safe, Josh's children, Josh's nieces and nephews, any
Yeah,
other children in the world, is the fact
yeah,
that he's in prison. That's exactly where he needs to
exactly.
be, especially because his family sure the hell isn't. So,
Oh my God, you guys. I
because
just
somebody's
do.
still paying these attorneys to go clear to the Supreme Court. Who do you think
Can
that
you
is? Oh, I don't know. Jim
imagine?
Bob?
Right. I mean, it would have to be. Who else would it be besides Jim Bob, you know?
No.
It's so bizarre to me, though, that, like, this is what you think
No,
you should do as a parent
no, it's got to be
for
his
a
dad.
child who has been convicted of federal crimes. Like, come on, man. How about take some responsibility for yourself? How about that? Are you hearing me okay? Because you seem to be a little behind me.
I am hearing you, but yeah, my internet connection seems to be a little unstable.
Ah, okay. You fuzzed out there for a minute, but it's better than it was now. So
That's my side now too. I
I
think we
think
just,
we're okay.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Jennifer? We sure as hell don't want him out and free in Arkansas again. I'm sure that you don't. My God.
Mm-mm.
Cracks me
No.
up, but I'm like, it's just gross.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
The
gross.
fact that that went clear to the Supreme Court is insane.
It's ridiculous. And I'm so grateful that they did not take it up because
Mm-hmm.
come on. Jess, yes, thank you. I've not had a chance to go through it yet, but Jess did post the most recent Sarah Boone letter to the judge in, in our Discord. And
Sweet.
I gotta, I need probably a whole bottle of wine for that, but yeah,
Are we gonna have to start
yeah.
doing Sarah Boone letter readings?
Oh no. We're gonna have to come up with a Karen character, aren't we?
Yes. Well, Sarah Boone would like to speak to the manager, so maybe
Most
so.
definitely she would. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we might have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Could we do some dramatic reading on here? It's possible.
I kind of like the idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jess says have a drink ready. It is pretty wild. Yeah, I am going to expect that it is. Wowza.
I like it. I'll take a look. I'll take a look.
Yes, I will as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, we have a lot to get to. So, Katie, I know that you are going to kick us off here with a crime news update.
Yes. Well, we brought you this story a few months ago, and so this is an update to a previous story that we've already given, and you might want to go back and watch that to get the full story. I probably can synopsinize, that's not a word, it today, but this was the death of a 12-year-old boy at Trails, Carolina, a few months ago. You guys remember? This kid was in their
Yeah,
custody less than 24 hours before he was deceased.
yeah.
And then directly after that, they were hit with a lawsuit from someone else who was sexually assaulted while she had to stay there. And they've now been hit with a bunch more lawsuits, and they have been closed because I don't know. It's a terrible place for children.
Yeah.
This is one of these troubled teen places where
Ugh.
people hire strangers to march into their homes in the middle of the night and kidnap their children and travel with them to another state where they shove them into these prison like rehab type centers, not rehab from drugs and alcohol, just rehab from, being themselves, and try to
Mm-hmm.
use these centers as ways to deal with their kids' mental health.
We're having a little trouble hearing you. You're kind of fading in and out. Maybe.
Oh, maybe it's the internet. I'm not sure.
No, that's better. I think you might have a short in your cord
I wonder if
because
I do.
when you moved it, it got immediately better.
Wow. All right. We're going to have to do something about this sound system. Uh,
Yeah.
so, at any rate, Sarah, or what's happened since then, this boy was taken at 12 years old, of course. 12 years old.
Mm.
12 freaking years old.
Just a
Listen, this
little
isn't
kid.
his parents' fault. It's not his parents' fault that their son died in this place. They trusted this place. But I will
Mm.
never, ever understand how not just them, but lots of other people are letting strangers take their children and put them in these facilities where they are completely out of their hands. It is the weirdest
It is.
thing I've ever heard.
It is so bizarre to me. I wouldn't do it in a million years. And I
Mhm.
know that's easy to say because maybe you're just really desperate with your kid, but to just send them off with
Mhm.
strangers like that and you have no idea what's happening with them,
Mhm.
that is terrifying.
Yep. So the reason we're bringing this back up is because his autopsy has finally been released. And the cause of death? Homicide.
Yeah. This was the kid that
So
was locked in a sleeping bag or something, right?
this is what he was in. This is called a bivvy.
Oh my God.
It's like a sleeping bag slash tent type situation. And apparently,
Whoa.
it's been a real theme at this place to stick kids in these. You're required to be in this your first night because, you know, you might have some ideas about not wanting to be there. So he was put in a bivvy, and apparently the bivvy had the mesh panel of it on the outside was torn. And so counselors sealed the outer panel of it so that, I don't know, they didn't have to see his face or hear his cries.
Sealed
But
it as in
essentially, they
like taped it or something?
tarped it. Tarped it.
Tarped it. Oh my God. Did they forget how people get oxygen?
Apparently,
Holy shit.
yes.
Wow.
And at any rate, he died.
Yeah.
He died.
Oh.
So, from one of the articles, the counselors could not check on him as they should have due to the opaque nature of the outer panel, preventing them from potentially noting the problem and delivering aid before he died.
Wow.
It should be noted that a common warning on commercially available bivy products indicates that the outer weather resistant opening should not be fully secured as it may lead to condensation and breathing restriction. This information was obtained on a basic web search that was noted in the autopsy.
Wow.
Also, he had somehow managed to turn himself upside down in it. Maybe, or maybe that's how they put him in there.
Right?
But when counselors unsealed the bivy bag the next morning, unsealed,
Ugh.
they found Harmon lying with his head at the tight foot of the bag.
Holy shit.
They also told the police when 911 was called, when they discovered him deceased, and he'd already been dead for hours, that they had attempted CPR. The autopsy notes that no, there is no evidence that CPR was attempted.
Oh my God.
So, the summary of findings: the cause of death is asphyxia due to smothering, the manner of death is homicide. No anatomic cause of death was determined at the time of autopsy. No significant natural disease was detected.
Wow.
Yeah. So they sealed him in that bag because they didn't want to deal with him because he was pissed off. He was scared. He was emotional. He was having an
Right?
anxiety attack. He had an anxiety attack in that. They had to let him out for a while earlier in the night because he was having a panic attack. And then they shoved his ass back in there,
And then they put him
sealed him
back
in,
in.
and let him die.
Oh my God.
It's just unfathomable.
Yes, it is.
So this place is in North Carolina. There's a little map of it at Lake Toxaway. But again, they have now been closed, hopefully permanently.
God, I
This
hope
is
so.
the type of structure that he would have been in. But they also were required to check on him every so often, and obviously that wasn't actually happening. A lot of lies were told about how often they checked on him, that they tried to do CPR, that they had checked on him and he was fine just a little while before that. There's no possible way any of that was actually true.
No.
But
Holy
now,
hell.
some other people that have been at the camp have been making some comments about that, saying that they also had been forced into bivvies in the past and thought that they would die.
God.
Uh,
What did they
former,
think the actual purpose of this was? Just breaking someone's spirit?
hmm I guess. Uh, A former camper named Vic said, I immediately went through a list in my head of the ways that I was treated that could have caused him death. I was on burrito, that's apparently what they called it, being stuffed in these bags, for 2 weeks. And I remember
Oh
not
my
being able to
God.
sleep because I could not move, I could not breathe, and it was just like a cocoon.
Holy shit.
They would make us lay on a tarp and then they would wrap it over us, said another former resident who attended as a 14-year-old.
Oh my God.
Another girl said, when I heard about the death at Trails, my first reaction was, I made it out alive, but he didn't.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is horrifying.
yeah. It is absolutely horrifying. This place charges more
Jesus.
than $700 a day.
To torture kids.
Mhm.
Wow.
This is also a place where in 2014 a boy named Alec Lansing died uh, when he was up in a tree that branch broke and he fell down into a stream and died and was deceased for 2 weeks before they found him, and he was running away at the time,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
because this place was torturing children
Yeah.
and all.
Uh-oh. I can't hear you and you're frozen. I don't know if you guys can hear me. We've got a little. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
horrifying.
Yeah. Absolutely
So
horrifying.
mhm. So, no charges have been filed, but, we're watching this closely. This was just announced, so we're expecting there to be charges filed. I hope his family is pushing for charges to be filed because this is beyond egregious.
It
Uh,
is. It's
yeah.
horrific.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you for the main case. I'm going to duck out of here for just a minute and restart my computer and see if that helps my connection. So I'm going to turn
Okay.
it over to you and I will be back shortly.
Okay. Well, friends, we talk about how Utah is not okay on a regular basis on this show. And we're going to bring you another story about how Utah is not okay on today, unfortunately. I don't know why these. I mean, I have some theories, but holy crap, there's so much going on um, in Utah cases. So this is Olin and Kerilyn Johnson. And Olin and Kerilyn are deceased in what appears to be a murder suicide. It appears that, and it will be confirmed by autopsy, but the law enforcement reporting this believe that Olin shot Kerilyn twice and then himself. They live in the American Fork, Utah area and have 6 children. Fortunately, the 6 children were not present, or this might have been a family annihilator type of event because we've had several of those in Utah lately. Um, but no, I think a murder suicide is bad enough. It's just unfathomable to me, honestly, what is happening with these cases. And I know that they don't only happen in Utah, but there are a lot of them in Utah, and especially for the population of Utah. So that's why we talk about them. So I want to tell you a little bit. Mostly what I want to tell you about is Kerilyn herself, because Kerilyn was a beloved member of the musical community. Kerilyn worked for BYU in their music department. She was an adjunct professor. Kerilyn had a like a singing career herself. She also teaches voice and has her own studio. And so when this story broke, so many people came forward absolutely stunned first of all. Secondly, horrified because Kerilyn is known to be such a beautiful, amazing human being. And unfortunately, when a relationship like this ends in murder suicide, what we know is that that is not the beginning of the abuse. That is the culmination of the abuse. And so this is an indication that things have been unstable for a long time for it to get to here. Grant says, does no one go to therapy in Utah? Well, the problem we see is that a lot of the therapists are ending up in prison in Utah for sexual abuse. There have been a large number of them, some of whom also were practicing couples therapy. It's just there's a crisis in Utah right now. But let me I want to share a few things with you about what happened here. So you're back.
I'm back. Hopefully that's better.
So this is a Facebook post that Olin posted, I don't know, a couple weeks before or a few days before the murder-suicide occurred. And he said, no matter how crappy a person I am, motorcycles always love me back. Oh, and skiing. Skiing loves me too. And then posted a bunch of hashtags. His children came onto the post. You are not a crappy person. You're the best dad in the world. I love you, Dad. There were a bunch of posts from his kids. But
Wow.
what the hell kind of gaslighty kind of thing was that to post?
Really weird.
Implying no one loves him. Very weird. Very, very weird. And, you know, maybe give us some insight into that relationship. There's not a lot known publicly. And of course, we want to respect the privacy of the family, and we would never, you know, reach out and ask them anything. But I would bet that there's been other stuff like this before. Here is Kerilyn's description of herself on her website. Or no, this one's not on her website. This is from the BYU music department. Kerilyn Johnson has been on the music faculty at BYU for the past 20 years. She has performed all over the world, including Russia, New York, Las Vegas, and over half the United States. She sang for 5 years with a group called Providence, produced by Deseret Book. That's a Mormon organization, so they were a Mormon singing group. And can also be heard on several Deseret Book compilation albums. Kerilyn has been seen twice at the Stadium of Fire and has been a featured guest soloist for groups all around Utah. Her students can be seen on Broadway, in regional and local theaters, and have been featured on American Idol, as well as recording albums. She and her husband live in Highland, which is American Fork area, with their 6 crazy but awesome kids.
Wow.
This is the person that Olin took from this world.
Yeah.
That Olin took from their family, their children.
Their mother. Yeah.
Here is a picture of her with, I think, some of her students. This picture came from her website. Just beloved. But the kind of ugliness that must have been going on behind the scenes in this situation to lead to the point of murder-suicide is something that probably most people don't want to think about, because there's no way it just started. It didn't.
No.
Deanna says it's a crisis because the church has their claws deep into a lot of mental health organizations in Utah. This is true. We've seen evidence of it multiple times. It's
Jody Hildebrand, anyone?
And borderline unethical. Yes, Jody Hildebrand, of course, being the shining example of bullshit, but there are several others. Yeah. Somebody says he was probably having an affair. Very possible. Yeah, fishing for compliments on that page. Implying that no one loves him with a wife and 6 children.
Yeah.
And doing that on a public forum.
Who does that?
That makes, a narcissist, that's who. does that, to try to get sympathy and get compliments, and for family members to have to jump right to um,
Make him feel better.
make him feel better, like that is so problematic.
They're poor freaking
So
kids. I
problematic.
cannot even imagine what they must be
I
going
can't.
through at this
I
point.
can't either.
My God.
A family member found them. We don't know if it was one of their children. They have teenagers and adults and adult
Kids.
children.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to share with you that I found on YouTube. This is this was filmed about 3 weeks ago. This is Kerilyn um, auditioning for the musical Ragtime. So this is her part of her audition video.
Hello everyone, I am Kerilyn Johnson and I will be singing My House from Matilda. For this is my house, this is my house. It isn't much, but it is enough. And when it's cold and bleak, I feel no fear. Even in the fiercest storms, I am warmed by this small but stubborn fire. Even though outside it's freezing, I don't pay much heed. I know that everything I need is in here. It isn't much, but it is enough.
Wow.
What a loss.
It is a huge loss, and it's a huge loss to the musical community in Utah and beyond.
Yeah.
One of the places I get some of my information is from a Reddit group, and that Reddit group, somebody posted the article about this when it first occurred, and I can't tell you how many people in that group were like, oh my God, I took voice lessons from her, or she was my teacher for this or that, or I was in this
Oh.
production with her, or she was teaching my child.
Uh-huh.
Big loss.
Wow.
Yeah, Utah is not okay.
Utah is very much not okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Well, all of the love to her family, and all those that have been
definitely.
shaken by this. How horrifying.
Yeah, I can't imagine what they all must be feeling right now. So, yeah, all our
No.
love to them. And with that, Katie, you have some serial killer news for us.
Boy, do I. So, there is a place called Fox Hollow Farm. You might be familiar with it. This is a place that has been talked about a lot because this is a suspected serial killer that operated in the 80s and 90s
Hmm.
by the name of Herb Baumeister. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of the farm. It's this place right here.
Wow.
Really deeply wooded area.
Big property.
Yeah. Herb had a wife and I believe 6 children. And that might not be right. He had a wife and a bunch of kids at any rate. And his marriage was, as his wife reflected later, actually pretty odd. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I had 6 kids from the last case. Never mind. Scratch that. He did have children.
Okay.
But I had a strange marriage that was pretty loveless. His wife admitted that they'd actually only had sex 5 or 6 times during the course of their 25-year marriage later down the road. But there were gay men at the time disappearing. from gay bars in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was, unfortunately at the time, such a terrible stigma against gay men that nobody was really looking for them. There wasn't much of an outcry as to what was happening to these people. However, there was a man who went to the police and said that he and his friend, his name was Tony Harris, he said that he and his friend met a man at a bar, this is in Indiana, who called himself Brian Smart. And Brian Smart had invited his friend, Roger Goodlett, to go home with him. And he did. And he went missing.
Mm.
And Tony Harris also spent some time with Brian Smart. And he said that he was nearly killed by Brian Smart by taking erotic asphyxiation too far.
Oh boy.
And Harris really thought that maybe this Brian Smart guy had something to do with the disappearance of his friend Roger, or maybe other people. So the police were like, yeah, okay, fine. So they try and find a guy named Brian Smart, and they come up completely dry. So basically, they're like, we don't know. We don't know because we don't know who Brian Smart is. So Harris keeps going back to the same bar until he sees Brian Smart again and goes outside when he leaves and writes down his license plate number and turns it over to the police. And they identify Brian Smart as actually a man named Herb Baumeister. So the police approach them, Julie and Brian, or Julie and Herb, wife Julie and Herb, and want to search their property. And they said no and got really weird. And they didn't really have any evidence at this point. Just, well, I mean, they had evidence, but not enough apparently. So they were kind of waiting and watching him. Well, Julie started to put a few two and twos together. Because as it turns out, a few years before that, Julie's son had found a human skull in their backyard.
Oh my God.
And she had asked Herb about it, and he had said that his dad had been a doctor and he had had skeletons and things, for science back in the day, and he's sure that's where it came from.
Oh. Holy crap.
So she kind of starts thinking, okay, maybe things aren't right here. Maybe something isn't right here. So while he's out of town on a trip in 1996, while he's out of town on a business trip, she lets the police come and search Fox Hollow Farm. And they search those woods out around that house.
Wiggle your cord.
Okay. This is very weird because I'm on a different jack and a different headset.
That is weird, but you know what? That worked.
What in the hell? Okay.
I don't know.
Really weird. All right. Well, at any rate, Julie lets them search. They find the remains of 11 missing men.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They put a warrant out for Herb's arrest. He appears to have known that warrant was out for his arrest because he goes ahead and unalives himself.
Oh boy, of course.
So on July 3rd, near Grand Bend, Ontario, he kills himself and leaves a suicide note detailing his failing marriage and failing business, but doesn't say shit about, being a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
But after he died, he became a suspect of a whole bunch of murders along Interstate 70. That's the main highway that links Indianapolis and Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently is a route he frequently took for work. Apparently the bodies of 9 men were found along that highway in the mid to early 80s. And most of them were linked to the Indianapolis LGBTQ scene. So they wonder, but they don't have any proof. So why am I telling you this super old story? Well, because there's been a renewed search at Fox Hollow Farm.
Oh, wow.
And what they have found at Fox Hollow Farm is more than 10,000 human remains.
What?
They're of mostly the same people, but they have
Different
uncovered
bones
now,
and things.
they believe they've uncovered 4 more victims than what they knew they had in the past from Herb. Potentially from Herb. Yeah.
And are they done, or is this ongoing?
It's ongoing. It's ongoing. They have spent an incredible amount of time on this property trying to identify as many of the victims as they possibly could. This is a peek at Herb here on the left, and then some of his victims here on the right.
Holy crap. That is terrifying.
They really have no idea how many people he murdered. And of course, he left the planet rather than be accountable for that. And so they just don't know. But they are still going through Fox Hollow Farms with a fine-tooth comb, trying to identify as many as they can. So there's 4 sets of DNA right now that they're unable to identify. And they're sending through genealogical research to try to put names on faces so that they can at least give some families some closure. They have identified one more than they did know. And it is a man named Jeffrey Jones. This is Jeffrey Jones.
Wow.
So it's an ongoing search, but it's huge. It's a huge thing. They've put an enormous amount of money into it. But they feel like, they owe that to the victims' families to try and figure out what happened, or at least, locate them.
This
give
idea
families
that
some
only
closure.
Certain people deserve to be looked for is a bunch of horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad to see that, they're trying to make this right.
Mm-hmm.
Because they should have done this search. Authorities should have done this search clear back then.
Oh, yeah. 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 Well, they're all connected. Well, they're all connected to the LGBT scene in Indianapolis in the 80s and 90s. And that's what they're tying to him with. Besides the fact that they were found on his farm, of course. But we're not talking about 10,000 people. We're talking about, they don't know yet, somewhere around 15 people probably. That is not including all of the men that were found on the interstate. We don't know. They don't know. Those are just assumptions.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on it, but wow.
That is wild. Mm-hmm. Well, let's keep a close eye on that, because the identification of missing people is really, really important. We know from what we've watched along the way here how destructive it can be for people to never know what happened to a loved one.
Yeah.
And everybody has the right to be looked for, identified, and laid to rest and mourned for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Most definitely. Wow.
Yep.
Whew, okay. Well, that was quite an episode. There's a lot going on in this world right now, you guys.
Absolutely. It is still a lot of people on his place. Agreed, Tina. It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is crazy.
We will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain for case updates. It is the last time case updates will be at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. It's moving to 6, starting the first Wednesday in July. So keep a lookout for that. I will be bringing the kittens back so you can see them again tomorrow. And we have lots of updates, lots of things happening in many cases. We're really also, trying to decide what's our next trial that we're going to watch.
Yeah.
We would like some suggestions. We thought it was going to be Lori Vallow in August. It's pretty obvious that is not going to be happening in August now.
Yeah.
So we don't actually have one. So guys, give us some suggestions. Go suggest in, we take case suggestions over in Discord. You can send them to us in a YouTube comment. You can send them to us in our Facebook group, whatever. But send them to us. What trials are coming up that you would like to see us cover? Because we would like to cover another trial. We just don't know which one to do. So,
what are we interested in? Well, in Sarah Boone in October, if If that
If that
happens in
happens.
October, which is a humongous if.
But it's
Oh,
set
welcome,
to
Yvonne.
it's set to take a week, beginning to end. So that's not a very long trial. So we could definitely cover
No.
something else in the interim. So
Mhm.
if there's something you've been keeping an eye out on and you want to see us cover, please let us know.
Mhm.
'Cause we
Shanna
definitely
Gardner
would like to
should be
do
coming
another
up
big.
soon as well.
Yes.
But I don't think we know yet when, or if we do, I can't remember. But it should be coming up soon. But yeah, what
Yeah.
else are we watching?
Yeah. We would like to know. So definitely uh, keep that on your mind and give us your input. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, we've done it. You guys know it. We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care.